Welcome back to Open Line. We are in this final block with Jason McGowan from MTSU. He is spearheading the Middle Tennessee African American Oral History Project, and he has been so gracious to be our guest tonight. I'm curious, Jason, there may be some people that, you know, and hopefully so, that may have had a similar idea. Maybe they've already had a conversation with a family member. You know, could they donate a conversation that they've already had to your project?
Oh, most definitely. If I'm looking for, if you've already have a project and you've been documenting your family history, one, if you want to get it down on audio or video, I'm here for you. Two, if you already have it and want to donate it to be preserved at the Albergore Center, we're there for that too. It would be great. Not only would be your family, it'd be your voice interview. That would be something to preserve.
And I want to point out to our viewers, our lovely producer has put your contact information on the lower part of the screen. So if you'd like to get in contact with Jason, those are the ways to do so. Both your email and phone number is on that. So just wanted to make sure we made a note of that. Curious, once you're able to get, you know, a lot of these interviews compiled, is it going to be publicly available anywhere? Talk a little bit about that.
Well, that's the goal, to have it preserved and publicly available, hopefully online, going through the Albergore Center website, which is another way you can contact me as well. I forgot to mention that. If you go to www.mtsu.edu/Gore Center, you'll see the project information on the front page there as well. Has a link to the website too. But yes, like I say, access is the key. We want these to be accessible to all who want to hear them, to all who need to hear them. And so that's going to be a big part of it. However, that's down the line too, because I got to get these things, I have to transcribe these interviews as well, to have that digital copy. And also, once they're transcribed, we have to have the metadata going through and telling what they were speaking about in every particular minute and segment of the conversation. That way, it's like an index for oral histories. That way, if you're just looking for a particular portion, you'll be able to find it that way too. And so the project is much more than just interviews, I should say. It's also some attention to details, transcribing work, things of that nature, and make sure the audio quality is good too.
Absolutely. I want to bring Tony into the conversation, who's called into Open Line. Go ahead, Tony.
Yes, this is a little oral history involving me and my brother, older brother that's now deceased. We spent the night with my older sister, adopted sister, in a small town. But I kept wanting to leave because that morning, because her husband at the time was acting strange and funny, like he didn't want us there. So in the small town, my dad worked, and he was there that morning working inside the town. So we decided to take a walk and meet him about a half a mile. And all of a sudden, this white lady was on her porch, the laundry room, with this big white German Shepherd. She started barking. She opened the door, screen door, and let him loose on us. Well, our brother was older. He took off running and left me. I'm trying to catch up. The dog knocked me on the ground. He was going to snag at my throat. And all of a sudden, here come a pickup truck, old Chevy truck. He hit the brakes because he almost hit both of us and slid. I'm screaming and crying. And at that time, she called the dog back in. Now, both of them was angry. The white guy almost hit us with the truck. And the lady would let the dog loose because he was yelling, "Get out of the road." How can I get out of the road? A big old dog was on top of me. He weighed about 100-something pounds. Now, I try to not never think about that no more. It's like a nightmare. But old brother JW, he said, just forget it. Don't tell nobody. He kept hugging me and petting me on the way, the rest of the way to town to meet Pop. But he's now deceased. Everybody deceased involved, I believe. But I should have had some kind of psychological counseling, but at that time, people really didn't believe in a psychologist. They didn't believe in counseling. Only counseling you got was at the church and minister. And today,
Hey, Tony, I'm so sorry.
About
We're going to have to leave it there just because we're getting close on time. But thank you so much for being willing to share your story. And, you know, I think, Jason, you're obviously striking a chord here of people that are wanting to share that story and the cathartic nature of it, too.
Yeah, most definitely. And thank you, Tony. My condolences on your on the death of family members. But one thing Tony talked about was when he was a child, and one thing I've been learning when I'm doing these interviews is that people have experiences, of course, when they're children, but a lot of times they're not able to process exactly what happened until they're an adult, and that processing time is definitely needed. But the things that happened to you as a child, even if you have different feelings about them now, and you've been able to process, be able to see the hate or what it was about, those memories are valid, and I want to hear those too, even though they happened long ago. Because, like you say, they are cathartic. Sometimes you got to get that out there. Mental health is real.
Absolutely, and I think I imagine our platform tonight being a good example is if you have, you know, a situation where you hear other people sharing situations like that, it may be, you know, open the doors for someone else to feel empowered to be able to share that perspective too.
Amen.
I'm curious. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to step on your line.
No, I said I couldn't say it better myself. That's exactly right. Yeah.
I'm curious as we you know, slowly run out of time here. I'm curious, you know, do you see certain trends in some of the stories that you hear, and any that are applicable? You've mentioned this a couple times, that sometimes we think we're far removed from some of these situations, and oftentimes we're not.
Well, the trends I see are like the same stories of strength, stories of perseverance, stories of love, stories of fear. All those things have resided within the Black community at one time or another, and that's the trend. That even though the situations or things may have been different, the feelings and the emotions, they were real. The only thing that's really different, and I say the only thing, but it's a big thing, is the people. People process and experience things different way. I may speak to two people from the same era who have two competing ideals on what happened, but that's good. That's what you need. You need those competing ideals in order to get a full grasp of what's going on. You can't be linear or polarized in your thinking to believe just one thing. You have to have something from all sides, and I believe that's what these oral histories will show. That we're all people experience things differently, but their experiences are real, valid, and should be documented.
Absolutely. Jason, we have only about 45 seconds left with you. If somebody's been watching this tonight, what is one thing you want them to go home with about what your project's trying to achieve?
Everybody has a story. Tell it. I'm listening.
That's powerful. And to know that someone is listening and wanting to take that story, not just kind of going through the motions, I think that has to help too, right?
Yes, because listening is a trait. To be an active listener is not an easy thing to do. You do have to train to be an active listener. It's not something that just you wake up one morning and say, I just want to listen to everybody. I don't think, you know, people want to tell their story. Most people want to talk, just like I've been talking tonight. I guess I've been talking a lot tonight because once these interviews start, I'm silent.
Jason, we're going to have to let that be the final word. We'll have a few final thoughts here on Open Line after the break.